Jets will be leaving Winnipeg.
The Winnipeg Jets are gone forever.
It's a sad day for hockey and sad day for Winnipeg, and it's a sad day for all of us.
This is just part of the video montage that played Thursday at the Winnipeg Chamber of Commerce Business Luncheon, where Mark Chipman took the stage to deliver a keynote address. During his 25 minutes, he got more than one standing ovation from the crowd of about 500 people. The man who seems to have made it his personal mission in the last 15 years to bring hockey back to our city tried his best to sum up the ups and downs he, along with True North Sports and Entertainment, have endured to make the NHL's return to Winnipeg a reality.
In 1999, we approached a newly elected Gary Dewar and then Mayor Glenn Murray, and shortly thereafter, our dream of building a new facility in Winnipeg began to take shape. 2001 would be a very busy year for our organization. In May of that year, in partnership with David Thompson, we announced our intention to build the MTS Center on the site of the Eaton's department store. At the same time, I was fortunate enough to be involved in a process that would see the International Hockey League fold into the AHL and create one clearly defined level of development hockey for the NHL. Interesting to note, last night, I don't know if you heard the comment, but 42 of those players that competed in last night's game played in the American Hockey League. But it was through that experience that I first met and began to know Gary Bettman. I let him know of our plans to build a new arena and that I expected our city to one day again take its place in the NHL. In November of 2004, we opened the doors to a very enthusiastic and energized community. At that same time, the National Hockey League was engaged in an exhaustive effort to correct the underlying economics of its business model. As a result of those efforts and the league's decision to shut down the game for a full season, the door finally really opened for us to consider our return to the NHL. We had experienced firsthand the extraordinary disappointment that resulted when the Jets left in 1996 and did not want to unnecessarily raise everyone's expectations when we knew quite possibly we might not succeed. So with those principles as our guideposts, we started down a path of immersing ourselves in the economics of the post-lockout NHL. As opportunities came our way, we continued to learn and gain more confidence. In the spring of 2009, it became very apparent that the league was seriously interested in returning to our market. We were first introduced to the idea of acquiring the Phoenix Coyotes at that time. However, the timing was very, very challenging, and in any event, the team was ultimately placed into bankruptcy and acquired by the NHL later that year. As it turned out, we literally came within 10 minutes of acquiring that team in May 2010, when the City of Glendale met a 5 p.m. Eastern Standard deadline to wire the funds necessary to pay for the league's losses for the upcoming season. We went home after a grueling week of work in New York, somewhat disappointed, but at the same time, really uplifted by the fact that the league had taken us so seriously, and as a consequence had indicated that it would just be a matter of time before we would actually acquire a team. The very same process began just this past December when it appeared as though a solution to keep the team in Glendale could not be achieved. Once again, we agreed to provide the league with a viable backup plan. Moreover, we expressed a willingness to patiently stand in the background. As the process in Glendale unfolded this spring, we were made aware of the possibility of acquiring the Atlanta Thrashers. Fortunately, much of the work necessary to conclude a transaction had been started, and running a parallel process on both teams was manageable. When it became certain that Glendale had again purchased a placeholder position for next year, we immediately moved all of our assets to one track and commenced the intense process that led to our announcement just over 2 weeks ago. At that press conference a couple weeks ago, I was asked whether the return of the NHL to our city could restore its pride. I responded by suggesting that I didn't think the pride had ever left. Winnipeg was a great city long before the NHL arrived in 1979, and in my opinion, became an even better city after it left. Bringing the NHL back to Winnipeg this fall is something that I'm obviously very, very proud of. But I'm even more proud to call this community and this fantastic city my home, and to just be part of the current collective act of will that really sets this city apart.
In closing, Chipman thanked his wife Patty, his father, his colleagues, and the large showing of corporate support his companies have received over the years. But he stressed again and again it would never have been possible without all the support of the Moose fans over the years. For the Winnipeg Free Press News Cafe, I'm Tanya Kohut.